Okay, I might have to make this um, in 3 or 4 parts because I've got a lot of stuff that I found about this topic. Okay, and the the expression or the word is innuendo, innuendo, and I'd be willing to bet that that word comes from maybe Spanish or Latin or something because it just sounds like something that would be in Spanish, right? So my guess is that people that that speak Spanish will understand this word basically without this without too much trouble. Okay, so all right, so let's take a look here. Uh, okay, so today or for this lesson, I'm going to talk about the basic meaning and give you some examples. Okay, so this is my plan. Okay, uh, I'm going to give you the dictionary definition and some written examples, and that's probably going to be everything for just this video. Okay, because it's just too much. It's too much to do it all in one, right? Okay, and I'm going to show you some movies that the use innuendo and use the expression innuendo. Okay, and this certain movie, North by Northwest, and then I'm going to talk about this song that uses innuendo, and this this song here. Uh, it's from the movie Grease. Okay, and actually, I need to pause this for a second because I need to. I might need to sign in with my account here. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's talk about the dictionary definition. And elusive means kind of like not direct, okay, or oblique remark. Oblique means so if I come at you obliquely, right, means I'm not coming at you directly. So if we're boxing and I come at you directly, right, you know where the attack is coming from. It's easy to defend. But if I come at you obliquely, I might come at you from this angle, right, or this angle. That's what they say you should do. You should come at your opponent obliquely. Okay. My microphone. All right. So anyway, let's go back here. So an elusive or oblique remark. It's not always an attack though, or a hint. Typically a suggestive, usually to suggest something. It suggests something sexual, or um, it could be some kind of an insult, right? A disparaging means insult. Okay. So similar words are insinuation, implication, a hint, a suggestion. Okay. So that's the dictionary definition. Okay. All right. And I'll give you another one. Uh, this is one of the main meanings. The making of a remark or remarks that suggest something sexual or something unpleasant. Um, Not unpleasant, but just maybe embarrassing. You know, something that you want to be indirect about. Okay, So if you want to make some kind of a comment to somebody, you might not want to be direct, okay? Uh, because some people like to, I guess, suggest something. Like if I want to suggest that two people are having a secret affair, but I can't say it openly, right? Because then they could come back at me and say, "You said this." No, I want to make some kind of a suggestion that they might be. Or if I want to suggest that someone has some negative characteristic, uh, I might say it kind of indirectly so that they're not quite sure, right? So I just thought of an example. In my last semester's classes, I had two kids with similar names. And one kid I remembered very clearly because he was so lazy and he was just nothing but problems. He was always late, never had even a pencil or a dictionary or anything. So, but there was another kid with a similar name. And so I started talking to the one kid, right? Because everybody knew how this lazy guy was, right? And I said, "Oh, you have a similar name to that other guy," uh, and I have to remember that. I definitely need to remember that because definitely you don't want me to confuse you with him. And everybody laughed because that guy was probably going to get a bad grade, but the other guy was really good, right? So I didn't say I didn't say, "Oh, he's lazy." I just said, "You don't want me to get confused between you two, right? You don't want me to make a mistake about that because you're probably." I didn't say this. That's all I said. Everybody laughed. But the reason is because that guy was pretty lazy and the other guy was good, right? So it was innuendo, right? Okay. So let's go back. All right. The meaning of innuendo is an oblique allusion, means like a suggestion, a hint, insinuation, uh, especially a veiled or reflection on somebody's character, right? So if one of my coworkers was uh, like a heavy drinker, you know, and I wanted to make a comment about it, right? But I didn't want to say that guy's a heavy drinker. I might say something sarcastic like, "Oh, surely he's not going to the bar tonight. Surely he's not going to go to the bar. I doubt he's going to the bar, right?" And I'm being like sarcastic, and that is is a kind of innuendo, sarcastic, right? So that he can't come back and say something like, "Well, why did you say that?" Right? Um, you got to be. I don't usually do this. I'm not this kind of person, but many people do this. They make a kind of sly suggestion. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our browser here. All right. So you get three definitions. Now, this is stuff that I wrote. Okay. Why do people use innuendo? Um, because of legal or social restrictions, you can't, like, let's say, for example, if, you know, you want to make a comment about something, but it's against the rules at your company. You don't want to get in any trouble. You don't want to, um, like some things are actually illegal to say. You couldn't say something about the king of Thailand, right? Because it's illegal. So I would have to say something indirectly, or social restrictions. Social restrictions. So if somebody wanted to suggest that somebody else was fat, you know, or a foreigner, they might want to say something about them being a foreigner. Um, they might not want to say it directly, so they put it in some kind of innuendo. Okay, and also to maintain plausible deniability. So, so in case of any trouble, you can say that you did not mean it in that way, right? You can say something like, well, if I say, so okay, this happened many years ago. There was a there were two people that came to my gym, and they were both married, but not to each other, right? But they always spent a lot of time in the gym, and they would go do some other things too, like maybe shopping or whatever. And everybody thought they were having an affair. Everybody just kind of thought it was a little strange that these two people that were married but not to each other were running around together all the time. And they were both attractive people and about the same age. That doesn't mean that they were having an affair, but it looked like it, right? So let's say, for example, if somebody wanted to use innuendo, that they might be having an affair, but they didn't want to say, I think those two are having an affair, they would say something like, well, I think they spend time together in a few ways, right? Not only, or they might spend some time together outside of the gym, shall we say, right? And that's kind of like innuendo. So it is innuendo. Okay, so hang on a second. Let me pause this. Okay, so let's just give another example. So you wanted to suggest that James, just say his name is James, you wanted to kind of suggest that he is probably gay, right? He's not open about it. And so you might make the comment, well, I don't think I would have to worry about him stealing my girlfriend, right? Uh, so I can relax, and I think I don't have to worry about him stealing my girlfriend, or you know what I mean. Um, Something like, let's say you were talking about you got a cute girlfriend, and you can always I can always go out together with James because I don't have to worry about him stealing my girlfriend, right? And that could have a couple of different meanings, but I'm using, like everybody kind of already knows what we're talking about, right? So that's innuendo. Okay, so I'm just making these up. These are probably not very politically correct examples, but whatever. I'm just making them up as I go. All right, let's go back to what we got here. So, how is innuendo created? By using indirect or ambiguous language. Ambiguous means unclear. Maybe possibly it has a double meaning, right? You could use passive voice, right? And sarcasm. That's like, oh, James would, or let's say Thomas would never be late for work, and everybody laughs, right? Because Thomas is late all the time, right? So that's using innuendo. So let's say, here's some examples. Sales have fallen off in that department, have fallen off recently. And I might be suggesting that the new salesperson is responsible, but I don't want to state it clearly, right? Innuendo. I might say someone forgot to lock the cabinet last night. So that's using passive voice, or the cabinet was left unlocked by someone, right? So I might even, that's not really the passive voice. That would be as if I said, well, the cabinet was left unlocked last night. I don't say who, because I want to use innuendo. Because I just might say it in a room full of a few people, and the person responsible will get the message. Okay. I might say something like, people have been forgetting to lock the cabinet recently. Okay. It's innuendo. Innuendo is a suggestion. And now I used this sarcasm one time, and I found this in my messages, right? So Japanese customer service is not as good as they say it is, right? So I found this message in my old emails, right? So it says, I said, they gave me some bad customer service. Basically, they said, I contacted the doctor's office, and I thought they gave medical treatment, dental treatment. I was looking for a dentist, but they didn't have a dentist. But the lady was so unhelpful, right? And so what I did was she said, no, we don't do that. And that's it, right? Sorry. Well, in the U.S., most of the time they would say, but I think I know, because there was a dentist that had almost the same name, right? And of that office, right? And so if she was at all helpful, she would say, you might be thinking of such and such organization, right? But she didn't. She just said, no, sorry. So what I did was I used sarcasm. I said, such a helpful and professional organization you are. So amazing. Japanese customer service is top notch. This is that Japanese omotenashi. And that's kind of like innuendo, right? I'm using sarcasm because she knows that her customer service was really terrible, right? And so I'm using innuendo. So in case of trouble, I can say that I didn't mean it that way. No, I meant it, nicely, right? Okay, so I think okay, how long has this been going? I think it doesn't tell me how long. Oh, here it goes. This is already 19 minutes long. Okay, so I need to turn this into a couple of videos. This is going to be part 1, and stay tuned for part 2 and maybe 3. Okay, I will talk to you on the next idiom.